How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the Fourth and Long podcast with your host, Alec Picado. This is a late night edition of the Fourth and Long podcast, and this is a special Fourth and Long podcast episode. I'm going to give you my players to watch from every Power 4 conference team in the American Athletic Conference. And just a little side note, there will be some podcast episodes the rest of the week. Next week is when we really start to kick it into gear, with Monday's podcast being a longer one, with me giving you my upset picks, cover picks, over-under, and game picks, all in one video. And then Tuesday we start the new Fourth and Long podcast with me and co-host Bradley Walker. But let's get into tonight's video, and we are going to start off. And how this works is I'm going to give you two players, one on defense, one on offense, for every team in the American, the Big 12, the ACC, the Big 10, and the SEC. And here we go. We are going to start with the ACC. First, we're going to start Boston College. Start at the top. So Boston College, the guy I want you to watch on offense, and it might be boring to some people, but it's this guy right here, quarterback Thomas Castellanos. He had a really good season last year, and I think he can outdo last season and have a better season this year under new head coach Bill O'Brien. Castellanos is a little bit on the shorter side. He's 5'9", 196 pounds. That scares me a little bit, though, the 196 pounds. But he is the player on the offense for Boston College that I think you should watch. Now we have to scroll all the way down for their defense. Come on. On defense for Boston College, I think the player you need to be watching is this. Let's keep going. Sophomore cornerback Ryan Turner, the former Ohio State commit, who transferred over to Boston College last year to be with Jeff Hafley after he did not play at Ohio State. I think he's going to have a big role on defense for Boston College this year. So the two guys to watch on Boston College are on offense is Thomas Castellanos, and on defense is Ryan Turner. So that is 1 and 18. Next team we're going to look at in the ACC is Cal. And on offense for Cal, I'm going to go with another quarterback. I'm going to go with sophomore Fernando Mendoza. Mendoza had a rocky season last year, but I think he's going to do a lot better this year in his second. And I'm pretty sure he's going to be the starter for Cal. They did bring in Chandler Rogers out of the portal, but I think Rogers is only going to be the backup. I think Mendoza starts, and I think he's the guy on Cal's offense you need to watch. I could have gone with their running back, Jay Knott, But I chose to go a different route, and I chose to go with Fernando Mendoza. Now let's go to Cal's defense. And defensively for Cal, I think the guy you need to watch and take into account, I do watch film on all the guys I'm talking about that I'm going to talk about. I think you need to watch freshman linebacker B.J. Jones. 6'2", 215 out of Oakland, California. He's going to probably get playing time this year. I don't know how much, but I think he is a part of Cal's future at the linebacker position. And as you can see, most of their linebackers, they've got one junior, a senior, two seniors, two juniors, three juniors, four. Oh, that's a DB. Two juniors at linebacker and a senior, which means BJ Jones is probably going to get some reps at linebacker, whether it be a sub linebacker or maybe there's certain packages that he's going to be on the field. But so for Cal, the two players you need to watch for Cal are Fernando Mendoza on offense and BJ Jones on defense. We move on down the list. Sorry about that. And we go to Clemson. And on offense for Clemson, I am going to take a different route because there's a lot of people are saying Phil Maffa, Jay Haynes. They're saying the running back room. I want to look at the receiver room for Clemson. And there's a guy in the receiver room that I think you need to be keeping your eyes on. It's not somebody you would think of. It is not sophomore Tyler Brown. I think it is freshman TJ Moore. 6'3", 200 pounds. Your typical Clemson wide receiver. And I think TJ Moore, why don't we click on and look at his. So he's a freshman. Of course. I was going to say Clemson roster. They don't know the zip chart. Okay. I'm still going to say for offense, Ty Moore. Ooh, actually, I take that back. I found an even better option at Clemson. Sophomore wide receiver, Cole Turner. Didn't get a lot of snaps last year for Clemson, but I think he's going to this year because their wide receiver room is a little unproven. And you might also see another guy on offense. That being number 88, Clay Sweeney. He might get some reps at wide receiver. Not as a starter, but a rotating in. But the guy in offense for Clemson to watch is Cole Turner, wide receiver. Now let's go look at the defense for Clemson. And the guy for me on defense to watch, everybody's been talking about Peter Woods, and I understand that. But I think the guy everybody should be keeping their eye on the defense for Clemson is, we're going to scroll all the way down past, we're going to go freshman defensive back Adam Hampton, 6'2", 200. He physical. He is physical at the line of scrimmage. He will light you up. Even though he's only 6'2", if he hits you, believe me, you will feel it. It's not going to be comfortable. And the other thing was Hampton, he's really good in man coverage. And what is Clemson known for? Producing really good cornerbacks. Now we go to Duke. And the guy I'm going to tell you to watch on the offense for Duke is a guy. It is not Grayson Loftus because he is not going to be the starter. Malik right here, 6'5", 230. Transfer from Texas, Malik Murphy. He is the guy you should be watching on a Duke offense under new head coach Manny Diaz. I think Malik Murphy has been named the starter, I'm pretty sure, for Duke. And I think Malik Murphy is going to have a breakout season for Duke. And now on defense for the Blue Devils, I'm looking at with the freshman now. I'm going down to the linebacker room. And I'm looking at freshman linebacker Derek Brown Jr., 6'1", 220, out of Waxhaw, North Carolina. 6'1" is, he's a little undersized for a linebacker, but you turn on his tape, and he automatically sticks out. He sticks out like a paperclip. And you can see it on his film. He's a hard-hitting linebacker. Hard-hitting. So next team in the ACC, we're going to talk about, here we go, Florida State. And I know what people are going to say. Talk about DJU. No, I'm not going to talk about DJ Uiagalelei. I'm going to go a different route with that. I am going to talk about senior running back. You see here, Florida State's got a two-headed monster at running back. Lawrence Telefilo and transfer from Alabama, Rydell Williams. I would talk about both of them, but I think they're not the guys to watch. It's this wide receiver room. Malik Benson, Ja'Kai Douglas, and I'm going to throw Deuce Spann in there too. So that's three wide receivers in the same wide receiver room to watch. Ja'Kai Douglas, Deuce Spann, and Malik Benson. So the wide receiver room of Florida State is one to watch. And then on defense, why don't we just say the whole defensive line? Can they build off of the entire defensive line room? Can they build off of last year? All these guys prop on tape. Pull up Joshua Farmer's film. His highlights from last year. You'll see. He pops on tape. Grant Fielder is a freshman. That's hold on. What are we on? So now we get to Georgia Tech. And my player to watch at Georgia Tech is not Haynes King. It is going to be senior running back Trey Cooley. He is 5'10", 205. Okay, so that's your typical height for a running back. But the weight, that intrigues me. 205 pounds. He's a bowling ball. He'll bounce off of tacklers and get that extra yardage that you need. Defensively, I'm going to tell you to watch Cade Adams, number 57, defensive lineman, freshman out of Dawsonville, Georgia. 6 foot 265. 285, correction. He's a freshman. He's going to get rotated in on the defensive line because you want to keep fresh guys on the D line out there. So Trey Cooley and Cade Adams for Georgia Tech are the two players to watch. Now we get to Louisville. And yes, I'm going to go back to the quarterback position here. I'm going to tell you that you need to watch Tyler Shough. Quarterback. He was at Texas Tech. He's been around for a while, but let's see what he can do in this Jeff Brom offense. Jeff Brom offense. Look what Louisville's quarterback did last year. Can Shough build on that and have a really good season? And I'm going to tell you on defense to watch Jared Dawson, junior defensive lineman, 6'2", 305. Out of Connellville, Tennessee. So now we get to We still got half the ACC left. Now we get Miami. And where do I want to go with Miami? I could go Cam Ward. Do I? I think I'm going to go sophomore running back Mark Fletcher Jr. Because he's going to be in a split backfield, I believe, with transfer from Oregon State, Damian Martinez. And I'm actually going to change this up to make it go a little faster. You'll get one player per team. Because I know some people are not going to want to stay out. So we just did Miami. NC State, I'm going to keep it easy for you. It is Grayson McCall. Grayson McCall. They transfer from Coastal Carolina. I think they're going to unlock this offense now with a quarterback in Grayson McCall. Now you get North Carolina. North Carolina. This is the first year. It's a new era. And I'm going to go with Max Johnson. Quarterback. Transfer from Texas A&M. He is going to start for North Carolina. Pitt. Easy, simple. Transfer from Alabama. Let's see if I can find him. Eli Holstein, freshman. Out of Zachary, Louisiana. We're speeding through this. So SMU. I'm not going to even pull up SMU's roster. I'm just going to tell you, Preston Stone is the guy to watch on SMU. Stanford. I'm going to keep this one easy. Because there's no... Stanford doesn't really have that many. Elick Iomanor is the guy to watch from Stanford. Wide receiver. Syracuse. We're speeding through this. Syracuse. I'm going to go with another quarterback. It is Kyle McCord. I want to see if Kyle McCord, if it was Ohio State or if it was Kyle McCord. I want Kyle McCord to prove himself and show me that he is a good quarterback. Virginia. This is going to be a tough one. This is going to be a hard one. Honestly, I'm going to go with quarterback. And I'm going to go Anthony Calandria. Sophomore. Because I think he's going to start for Virginia. And I think he's the only player to watch on that team. Now, Personal favorite team here in the ACC for me, Virginia Tech. And I've said they have to go second to last. The guy I think you should be watching on Virginia Tech, it's offensive course, and it's another quarterback. It is junior Kyron Drones. He is the starting quarterback for Virginia Tech. And I think you need to be watching him. And then the final team in the ACC is Wake Forest, which I don't even know why they're still in the ACC. They stunk last year. The Deeks. I'm just going to go Hank Bachmeier because I think he's going to have a good year for Wake Forest. Now we get to the American. And we're going to start at the bottom. We're going to start UTSA. I think Owen McCowan is the guy to watch for UTSA because I think he's going to end up starting because Frank Harris graduated. So I think Owen McCowan is the guy to watch for UTSA. Said every team now gets one guy that I take a look at that I think is the player to watch. Because we're already at UAB's next. For UAB, I really don't know. I'm going to go wide receiver Yusuf Terror. 6'3", 180. I think he's going to have a big role for UAB. And he's going to, sadly, as a USF fan, he's probably going to make USF pay for not keeping him. So now we get to Tulsa. Boy. I'm going to go Lloyd Avant, running back, freshman. I don't see. I mean, I see Bill Jackson on there, but I don't see anybody that's going to be the starter. And I think, bold prediction here, I think Lloyd Avant out of Humboldt, Texas, is going to be the starting running back for Tulsa. And I think he's going to rush for 1,000 yards. Tulane. I think the guy to watch on Tulane is transfer quarterback Ty Thompson, junior out of Gilbert, Arizona. And I think Thompson's going to prove himself that he should have been a starter at the previous two schools he was at. Now, we get to Temple, and this is going to be ugly. For Temple, I think Evans, and this is embarrassing, I think Evan Simon is the guy to watch for Temple. South Florida, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. I could go with the boring pick at Byron Brown, but I think I'm going to go a different direction. And I could also go with Keith Kelly Jr. I could go with somebody that's in a running back room, but not going right. But I'm not going to. I think I'm going to go wide receiver Sean Atkins, senior, out of Vieira, Florida, 5'10", 183. He's the slot receiver for South Florida. But he does have the capability to get to, he will get 100-yard receiving games. And I think he's the guy you need to watch for South Florida this year. For Rice, this is another one I don't know. I'm going to go quarterback E.J. Warner because I think he's probably going to be the starter there. And if he's not, I'll give you one more guy as a backup plan. Wide receiver Kobe Campbell, 5'7", 164, out of Missouri City, Texas. He's another guy I think if E.J. Warner's not the starting quarterback, I think Kobe Campbell is the guy you need to watch for Rice. North Texas. I'm going to go Chandler Morris. Chandler Morris, Jr. out of Highland Park, Texas, is the guy you need to watch for North Texas. Trying to get you through this as quick as possible. Navy. I'm just going to say this about Navy before I click on the roster. They are a run-first team, so it's probably going to be a running back. Brandon Chapman is the guy you should probably be keeping your eye on for Navy. As I said before, I clicked on them, and it's going to be the same way with Army. These are triple option teams, which means they're going to be running the ball a lot. $33. Memphis, Seth Hannigan. Florida Atlantic, not sure. I'm going to go CJ Campbell Jr. for FAU. Is the guy you need to be keep a watch on. And I know I was low on ECU, but I'm going to go running back CJ Armstrong Jr. out of Wilson, North Carolina. He is the guy at East Carolina you need to be keeping your eye on. We got Charlotte and Army left. Charlotte. Have they named a starting quarterback yet? If they have, and it's probably Max Brown, and that's the guy you should be keeping your eye on for Charlotte. And then Army. We're speeding right through this. Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to go junior running back Gerald Dixon, 5'11", 214. He's the player you need to watch for Army. Now we get to the Big 12. Arizona State. I'm going to go Sam Levitt, freshman transfer quarterback. He's the guy I think you need to be watching for Arizona State. Arizona. Another new cover to the Big 12. And this one's going to be a twofer. A 2-for-1. You're going to get, I think the two guys on Arizona you need to be watching. They're both offensive players. The sophomore quarterback Noah Fafita and wide receiver Tatino McMillan Jr., 6'5", 210. I think you need to be keeping your those are your two players to, well, it's a combo because they've been teammates and friends for a long time. They were high school teammates. And I think you need to watch both of them for Arizona. BYU, let's see here. I know who I'm going to say for Baylor. BYU, I'm going to say Gary Bohannon because he's going to be the starting quarterback for BYU. And Gary Bohannon used to be at South Florida. He is now at BYU. I like that move for him. Baylor, I'm going to talk about another transfer quarterback. And it is Daquan Fenn, senior. He was electric at Toledo the last couple years, and I think he's going to help Baylor win a few games. Oh, God. I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to do the other half of the list as a premiere video later on this week or at the start of next week. But that'll wrap up tonight's video. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed. Have a wonderful rest of your night.